Hey guys, it's Mrs. Rice. So this video is going to talk about isosceles and equilateral triangles. So by definition, an isosceles triangle is a triangle with two congruent sides. So if we look at this picture, we know that this side is congruent to that side because of the tick marks. Now there are several parts of an isosceles triangle, so we're going to talk about those now. So we have a vertex angle. So the vertex angle is the included angle of the congruent sides. So where the two congruent sides come together, that is the vertex angle. The legs of an isosceles triangle is the congruent pair of sides. So in this picture, these are the legs. The base angles are the other two angles in the triangle, so the angles that are not the vertex angle. And you'll notice that the base angles are opposite of the legs. So what that means is if you go to a leg like this one and you go across or diagonal, you get one base angle. And you could do the same thing on this side. So here's this other leg. If you go opposite of that, you get to this angle right here. So if I refer to angles that are opposite of sides, I mean diagonal from them, like across from them. And then the base itself is the one side that's not congruent to the other two. So you'll notice that the base angles are on either side of the base. So the base is the included side of the base angles. Okay, so there's a couple postulates or theorems that involve isosceles triangles. So the first is called the isosceles triangle theorem. Pay no attention to these numbers. This is just specifically from a textbook, and it's not even your textbook. So an isosceles triangle theorem says if you have an isosceles triangle, meaning the two sides are congruent, then you can say that the angles opposite of those two sides are congruent as well. So if AC and BC are congruent, then the side opposite of AC, which is angle B, I'm sorry, the angle opposite of side AC, I don't know what I'm saying, the angle opposite of AC, which is angle B, and the angle opposite of BC, which is angle A, are congruent. So let me just say that again, just in case I confused you. If you have an isosceles triangle, meaning you have two sides that are congruent, then the angles opposite of those two sides will be congruent as well. The converse of the isosceles triangle theorem says if you know that a pair of angles in your triangle are congruent, then you can say that the sides opposite of those two angles are congruent as well. So if angle A and angle B are congruent, the side opposite of angle A, which is BC, and the side opposite of angle B, which is AC, are congruent. So just to clarify, you can use the isosceles triangle theorem in a proof to say that a pair of angles are congruent if you know that a pair of sides in one triangle is congruent. And if you want to use the converse of the isosceles triangle theorem, if you know that a pair of angles in one triangle are congruent, then you can use the converse of the isosceles triangle theorem to say that a pair of sides in your triangle is congruent. The last theorem, which doesn't have a name, so I just want you to know like the gist of it, what it does. So this says if you have an isosceles triangle, so if you see a triangle that has two congruent sides, and there's a segment that's bisecting the vertex angle. So remember, the vertex angle is the included angle of the two congruent sides. So if a side is bisecting that angle, then you can assume that that line that's bisecting your angle is a perpendicular bisector of the base. So looking at this picture, AC and BC are the congruent sides, which means C is the vertex angle. DC is bisecting angle C. We know that by the arc marks. So if this happens, then you can assume that CD is perpendicularly bisecting AB. So you'll see that CDA and CDB will be right angles, and you'll also see that AD and BD are congruent. So if you were using this in a proof, you'd have to actually explain the theorem. You wouldn't say theorem 4-5. You would say if an isosceles triangle's vertex angles being bisected, then the line's a perpendicular bisector of the base. You would have to explain that. But you can use that to say that you have a pair of right angles, and you can also use that to say that AD is congruent to BD. Okay, so let's talk about equilateral triangles. So equilateral triangles, by definition, is a triangle with 3 congruent sides, meaning all of the sides are congruent. So what we have to talk about equilateral triangles are just 2 corollaries. A corollary is basically an add-on to a theorem. So it's saying, oh, by the way, this also happens. So this is saying if you know that your triangle is equilateral, then you can say that it's equiangular. Meaning if all 3 sides are congruent, like in this case, then you can also say all 3 angles are congruent. But again, that only works for equilateral triangles. That doesn't work for anything that's greater than 3 sides. The other thing that happens with equilateral triangles is if you know that a triangle is equiangular, which means, again, all the angles are congruent, then you can assume that all of the sides are congruent. So that's what this says. And again, if you were using it in a proof, you would have to explain it. Just as a side note, if you have an equilateral triangle, then you should know specifically what the angle measures are equal to. Because if all 3 angles are congruent and the sum of angles in a triangle is 180, 180 divided by 3 is 60. So when you have an equilateral triangle, each angle in that triangle is 60 degrees. So that's it, guys. Equilateral triangles don't really have much because there's not much to talk about them. If you have any questions, I'm going to post a clarification section on Google Classroom. Like always, just let me know what you need clarified, and I hope this was a good video for you. Have a great day, guys. Bye.